computer. You're live.
I can hear you on my phone, but I can't hear you on my computer.
That's okay still. And I'm going to mute everybody now. Oh, not yet, after the thoughts of the day. We can hear you.
Oh, I can hear you now. Okay, I'll turn off my computer. No, I mean, I'll turn off my other device.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Charlie.
Morning.
Hi, Charlie.
Welcome to the
Good afternoon.
swap this morning. And we're going to start off as per normal with the swap grace, and I'm going to call on Suzanne to deliver the swap grace this morning.
I'm here. Oh, open up. I do hereby promise and pledge that from today onward, I will continually strive and think in a positive manner and have positive thoughts with regard to my profession and the life I am living. I realise the importance of the right attitude and make this pledge as I am aware of the truth of the law stating, as a person thinketh in their heart, so shall they be.
Well, there we go. Thank you for that. We've got the swap creed. Now we're going to do the swap grace. Dear Lord, we thank you for the food and the opportunity to fellowship, and we ask you to bless this meeting, this swap meeting and all swap gatherings around the world. Amen.
Amen.
Once again, welcome to all our dignitaries, any past national presidents, past national vice presidents, state presidents, life members, fellows of SWAP, past club presidents, past members of national or club committee members. Welcome home. And I think it basically means all of it. So, any birthdays today or last week?
Mine was on the 21st of November, Charlie.
Sorry?
Mine was on the 21st of November.
The 21st, which year was that? I think we'll miss that one. All right, let's go.
Mine's next week.
Who's the next?
Mine, Rhonda.
Happy birthday to Rhonda for next week. Thank you, Rhonda. Happy birthday, mate. So we're going to do.
Brian Sadler had a big 8-0 about a week ago.
Wow.
And I would have bought birthday cake if he had been on the. Let's do. I'm alive. I'm well, and I feel great. Are you ready, everybody? Limber up.
Amen.
Come on. Do your exercises. Do your exercises. 3, 2, 1. I'm
alive.
I'm well.
I feel great.
I'm alive.
I'm well.
I feel great.
Alive.
Alive.
Well.
I feel great.
Great.
What a mess up that was.
By Zoom, does it? It's just not quite the same as when we're all together. We've got thoughts of the day, and our thoughts today is the Honourable Greg Aldred. All right.
Oh, Charlie.
So Greg's the thoughts judge, and we're going to start off once again in order of those that booked. And the first one is Rhonda Buttery.
Well, I've got a special Christmas thought today, and it's one that I heard from Terry Califf way back in probably even Pilot Swap. If you don't have any love in your heart, you won't find it under the Christmas tree.
Oh, very good.
Yes, I like it.
Now, Greg was second, but I'll leave him to last, and I'm third. So my name is Charlie Nichols, the co-host of the Allow a Lake House. And my thought of the day is, when you find your why, you'll find the way. Next is Suzanne.
Oh, why can't you go in alphabetical order? I could have gone in.
Don't use Tony's mess.
No, it just slipped my mind totally. So I'm going to say Christmas is time for giving, and give all that love that you don't find under the Christmas tree that Rhonda was talking about.
Aha, very good. What about Anne? Anne Carlson, where are you?
I'm here. I'm right here.
Excellent.
As we grow older, I'm Ann Carlson, and I'm in Colorado in the United States, looking out on Pikes Peak, right in the Rocky Mountains. Beautiful here. As we grow older, we're a lot like plants. Some of us go to seed while others bloom profusely.
Yeah.
Very good. What about Roger? Where's Roger Bull? There he is.
I'm here. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
This one is a bit typical with COVID and everything that's going on at the moment. So in the old days, we used to cough to hide a fart. Nowadays, we fart to hide a cough.
That's good before breakfast. There, Roger? I don't think he is. I haven't seen him. No, Roger? All right, he booked in. Catherine Parlin Brinkworth.
Okay, hi everybody. Looking over the ocean at beautiful downtown Surfers Paradise. It's just a tinge of grey today, but it's still wonderful to be here. So my thought for the day, thousands of candles can be lighted from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared.
Yes, excellent. Thank you. I don't think Jenny's with us. Jenny, are you here?
Yes, I am. Hello, everybody. Good morning. I couldn't find the link this morning because it comes from something called Jot Form, which I've never heard of.
Join the club.
So I'm like, oh, who can I call? Anyway, it's all okay now because I'm in, and my thought for the day is one of my favorites because it's all about what I do. A smile is a little curve that puts a lot of things straight.
Mike O'Hagan on the top right corner. He's got a
Yes.
five, hasn't he?
I think I just heard Roger then. Are you there, Roger?
There.
This one,
Right. Thank you.
Roger Yates.
Yep. We
Can you hear me? Yep.
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. I'm Roger Yates from sunny South Australia. I used to be a member of Pioneer Swap back in the 80s, 1980s, that is. And I remember, as we mentioned, Brian Sadler celebrating his big ASO today. This is a quote from Brian Sadler from Pioneer Swap. By the way, I'm celebrating a big double H in 2 weeks' time.
Woohoo!
And my quote from Brian is, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Thank you, Brian.
Richard G.
Okay, g'day, all the way from New Zealand here. So listen, while we're all going through the sort of the aggravation of coming off border controls and everything else, a little thought for you. You might like to try to remember a very simple little concept called better than yesterday.
Mhm.
The idea is you do one thing better each day than what you did the previous day. And the beauty of it is by the end of the week, you've done 5 to 7 things better than last week. The end of the month, you've done 30. The end of the quarter, you've done 60. Just see how powerful it is. All you got to do, thought for the day, just do something better than yesterday. Thanks, guys.
Excellent. Thank you, Richard. Nikki.
Oh, good morning, everybody. I have problems finding the login too, so it was in my spam. So if anybody's having problems finding it there. So good morning, everybody. Nikki Meldrum, Home Loan Professionals, and looking forward to having a nice break over Christmas, but business is booming, so I'm not sure if I'm going to get much of that, but that's okay. Somehow not only at Christmas, but all the year through, the joy that you give others is the joy that comes back to you.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Our guest speaker, Mike O'Hagan. You're on mute.
Yeah, I know that. Got that now. Good morning, everybody. I'm Mike O'Hagan. I help businesses set up in the Philippines for support and advice and all that sort of thing. My thought for the day, keep your face towards the sunshine and your shadows will fall behind. And also My beautiful Angie now is going to share. She was thoughtless up till a minute ago because somebody stole a thought, but Mr. Google just rescued us apparently.
No, this is not Google, this is all me. Anyway, my thought of the day should just not be a thought, but doing everything with a smile and thanking God we are here to share that smile each day with everyone.
Original. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Is Denzo with us? Denzo, are you there? No? No. Yvonne Collier.
Hello, hi everybody. From, I was going to say sunny Sydney, but actually it's not. It's not wet though. So, ex-pioneer swap, teach us assertive skills. I've loved all the quotes. I always do. It was one of my favorite things. Look, I have this gorgeous daily calendar. And this one, I don't know if you can see, but I've changed this one, which is actually December 2nd, to any day, because this is true for any day. Say this to yourself to be happy, that today is the best day of the year.
Yes, every day is Christmas Day. Sylvia, your turn. You're on mute.
The lips are movement, there's no sound coming out.
Are you there?
Top right-hand corner.
Who are you looking for?
Sylvia Morris.
Sylvia Morris.
Yeah, Sylvia's there.
Yes, I know. Mute. We can't hear her.
Yeah, she's connecting to audio now.
She's down there.
Better?
That's better.
Yep. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, several times.
Excellent. So I'm Sylvia from sunny Brisbane, and I'm.
That's the phone
Can you
echoing.
hear that?
Just to turn one of the either computer or phone off.
You'll have to turn your phone off.
I know what it is. I know what it is. Hang on.
Leave meeting on the phone.
Okay, I've turned the phone off. Is that better?
That's better.
Okay, all right. I'm Sylvia from sunny Queensland, and I just noticed my name up on the screen is Sunshine. Thank you. And not Sylvia, I'll answer to either. I'm the creator of the Brisbane Artisan Expo. And my winning thought of the day, Greg,
Yes, Sylvia.
there are two ways of spreading light, to be the candle or the mirror that receives it.
Ah, very good. I like that one. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope Greg likes it.
Jeremy, take it away.
Good morning, Jeremy Britton, past president of Sunshine Coast Business Swap, and coming live from sunny Queensland. We've had 10 days of rain, and finally the washing is out on the line. So it's good. My thought for the day is it's better to be a has-been than a never was. So aim high, fail, fall, and try again.
Yes, very good.
That's very good.
Harry, are you there? Harry Kay?
Harry said she'd be in and out this call. I think she's got some other things happening, but she's not here just at the moment.
All right. Brian.
Good morning, all. Yeah. Good morning, all. Brian here, and I'm with a company called Spick and Span, because that's how we leave your property when we finish, commercial properties, that is. My thought for the day is regarding actual travel and our illustrious Premier here in Queensland. You can plan, but you can't predict.
Very good. Thank you. Gillian Heckler. Not with us, righto. David Shoemaker. Welcome, David, to the group.
Right, thank you, Charlie. Yeah, David Shoemaker here in Phoenix, sitting next to Susan Cutforth. Phoenix, where it's sunny all the time, even when you have to stay inside because of COVID. So my thought goes right along with that. And it is, emotions are much like waves. You can't stop them from coming, but you can choose which ones to surf.
Yeah,
That's good. I like that.
it's obviously Susan's turn.
Thank you very much, Charlie. I'm Susan Cutforth, past president of Auckland Achievers. And actually, I went to my last Swap Club meeting just before I came here to the US 11 years ago. My thought of the day is you always pass failure on the way to success.
Aha. Oh, I like that one. Leslie, where are you? I saw you.
I'm here, Charlie. Okay, so I'm Leslie Wagner, and I'm an essential services consultant. I'm in the business of helping people save money on their electricity, their NBN, their mobile. People go and get a comparison on their home loans for the interest rate, but they never bother to go and get a comparison for their electricity. So anyway, my thought for the day is life isn't meant to be easy. It's meant to be lived. Sometimes good, other times rough, but with every up and down, you learn lessons that make you strong.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you. Appreciate that. And Ken Smithies, where are you, Ken?
Yes, here at last. Sorry, I joined late, but I'm here anyway. Thought for the day from Melbourne, which isn't locked down at the moment. Very unusual. My thought for the day is just keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. And our last one, I don't think she's joined us at the moment, is Lorna Bender. Are you there? No? No. All right then. Well, I'm going to remember today to hand it back to the thoughts judge so he can deliver his verdict.
Well,
You're ignoring me.
thank you, Sir Charlie. Greg Eldridge from Melbourne Swap, and a very simple one. If it's going to be, it's up to me. Now, going through these lists of thoughts, there's some interesting ones. I found it very interesting from Charlie. He's never found his way. So your thought doesn't really qualify in any shape. It's interesting that Suzanne lost her mind. I've seen that happen on the odd occasion, Suzanne. Anyway, we'll move on from there.
Mr. Eldridge.
Quite interesting from Roger that trying to hide a fart, trying to hide a cough with a fart. I was just about to fart when you mentioned your thought of the day, but you didn't win. I'll cut to the chase. I've got to give it to my girlfriend, Sylvia. Congratulations, Sylvia.
Wow, I'm so honored, Greg.
That'll get me a free room.
Not to be your girlfriend, though.
That'll give me a free room when I come up to see you, darling. You can share your thought again for us. Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Shall I read it again?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. And it comes from this wonderful book here called The Promise of a New Day. And it's actually the 7th of November. So I was flicking through, couldn't find one, and went, go to the day, you idiot. So I did. And it says, there are two ways of spreading light, to be the candle or the mirror that receives it. And that's by a lady called Edith Wharton.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Sylvia. While you're there, Sylvia, can you also give us the thought of the day from the 7th of December?
Oh, that's right. That's the 7th of November. No, I like the one on the 7th of November.
Your guns there, Sylvia. Don't take any notice of old Charlie.
One of the thought of the day, so that's excellent. Yeah. Have we got any wins of the week? Anyone got a win of the week?
Yeah, I have. I think I have.
Well, you just won. So what's your other win?
Okay. My other win is I found out recently that some of the shires in Queensland are going to turn their back on the government and let everybody come into their shire. Vaxxed or unvaxxed, doesn't matter. Business are going to stay open, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going, we have an opportunity here to have a convention. So I've got to wait, and I can tell you now, not officially, but I'm pretty sure that the February convention won't happen. However, I'm waiting to hear what shires are going to turn their back on the government, in which case we can plan to have a convention in that shire.
All right. And we're talking Queensland, are we?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I can't really go across the border.
Well, we haven't, as a committee, we haven't really discussed what's going to happen next, although I do believe that February won't happen. However, I think we should wait till the following February, have Christmas in July, but the committee will get back to you on that one.
Yeah,
right?
but anyway, we will talk as a committee. You're right, Charlie, but I just felt a little bit elated knowing that there's a possibility.
Well, once again, as I say, I don't think we want to wait until February. I think we need to bring it forward and just change our dates around to suit whatever moment. Any other wins today? Surely. Come on, we're swappers. We've got to have a win here or a win. Yes, come on, Nikki.
I've been quite blessed in getting some loans through recently that were very challenging. And in the last couple of weeks, 2 clients have come round and bought me flowers. So I guess that's a pretty good win.
Yeah.
That's good. Congratulations. We need one more win. Come on. Who's got a win for us? Nobody?
You know, I would like to just, with Sylvia, in the United States here, we stood up against government, our state government. And this was about churches being able to meet. And, now we've got a constitution that gives freedom of religion. So, and freedom, of gathering. So, I mean, there's more and more, and people who are coming against, even when their jobs are being threatened, if they don't get vaccinated, and are saying, no, I'm not going to get vaccinated. And there's more and more and more winners in this. So, I love that. I don't, was it Edmund Burke who said, evil thrives when good people do nothing. And so we need to stand up against authoritarian overreach.
I think politics aside, we'll move on because we've all got different viewpoints on that, and I don't want to get bogged down with it. But anyway, we're a little bit early today, so we're going to have a 2-minute break so you can go get yourself a cup of coffee, and then we'll be back again. So 2-minute break, get yourself a cup of coffee, settle in because we've got 2 great speakers for you.
I'm out of eggnog. I'm out of eggnog.
No eggnog. Aye.
I'm having eggnog now. It's empty. I've got to go and get some more.
All right.
How Christmassy can we get? Where's all the funny hats and stuff?
It's mine.
It's not adequate, boys. It's not adequate at all.
Well, what's wrong with mine?
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, the virtual background cuts out a lot of it. So some of us have gone to the trouble, but the background shuts it out. We can see you, Suzanne. And I love your Christmas tree as well.
You see my hat?
Yes.
I missed Alex. I didn't see Alex there. Alex, have you got a thought of the day? You're on.
Yes, I do.
Oh, well, we need to hear it. We might have to have a rejudge.
No, you probably won't. The best presents at Christmas time is the opportunity to renew acquaintances of families and friends.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good. Thank you.
Congratulations,
Here we go. We got eggnog and minced tarts. How bloody Christmassy can you be?
Yeah, well, you look like you're looking old tart.
Oh, they said they'd never tell. It's all an optical illusion. Brought on by your bifocals.
Suzanne, are you still with that bloke? What's his name?
What's his name?
Huh?
He's got one leg.
What's his name?
He's got one leg in the grave, Greg. I'm just getting ready to push the other one in. You'll be right soon.
Give him my love, please.
Meet me under the mistletoe, Christmas Eve. Hmm?
Don't excite Greg. He's bad for his heart. Very bad for his heart.
We're heading up your way after Christmas, Greg. We'll have to meet up and have a drinkies, yeah?
Oh.
Are you bringing the caravan up? Or are you staying up?
Yeah, we'll bring the caravan.
Okay, look forward to it.
Yeah.
Greg, have you booked your ticket yet?
Was that a question? Was that a question to me?
Yes. Have you booked your ticket to Laos yet?
Yes, I have.
Ah, good.
But I'm not coming to the Lao Lake House, though.
Oh well, that's even better news.
Suzanne, you need to bring your caravan so you got somewhere to stay if they snap shut the borders again.
Well, yeah, that's what we were thinking. And maybe, yeah.
You'll have a difficult time getting a spot up there because it's going to be so busy at Christmas.
What,
we'll see what happens. She's changing her mind at the last minute.
All right, folks.
I don't mean Suzanne, I mean her, our unillustrious Premier.
Oh, there you
yeah.
go. There
There
you
we
go.
go.
Well,
All
am I
right,
wrong? She's good at changing her mind at the last minute. How many times have we seen that?
Your our Premier.
Yeah, I think our Premier's as bad, if not worse. Probably worse.
He's been a bit quiet lately down here, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
500,000 people outside of Parliament.
You running this meeting, Nichols, or what have you having a bit of a relay,
Just a break.
We're on time, so let's move on. We've got our 10-minute speaker now, our members speaker, Jeremy Britton, and it's traditional that they introduce themselves and their topic and what they want to talk about. So please give a warm welcome to Jeremy. Come on, Jeremy. Woo-hoo. Take it away.
I was just thinking this morning, Charlie, that the last time I spoke for Business Swap, I think was in 2008, just after we'd had the start of the GFC. And I'd actually predicted the GFC in 2006 in my book. And I was actually talking on stage about investing in the stock market safely through the GFC. And today we're going to be looking at how to invest in crypto markets, because this is something that a lot of people have started to do in their own names and in their names of their superannuations and 401ks and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I've got to share my screen, right?
Oh, moment, yes.
Can I do that?
In a second.
All righty.
Can you see through those glasses, Rhonda?
Yep. I've got my real ones underneath.
Oh. They look like the bottom of Coke bottles.
So rude. So rude.
Right, Jeremy, you should be on now.
All righty. Can we all
There
see
you are.
that screen? Yay.
Yep.
And can you see me at the same time?
Yes.
Sweet as. All right. So how to invest in crypto safely. My background is 29 years in financial planning and choosing the right stocks at the right time and choosing property and different things, moving from assets to assets. And when crypto came along, I had a look at this thing and went, it's kind of like the stock market if there was no rules. So there's a lot of scams, there's a lot of rubbish, but there's also some really, really good companies that you can look into as well. And because it never closes, you can make lots of money. I've got to see how I can make this thing go now. All right, how do I get to the next?
Down the
there we
bottom
go.
left of your screen, if you hover your mouse, you'll see the little arrows to move left and right. And just
Yep.
1 second, Jeremy, I'm going to mute everybody and then you will have to unmute yourself.
Okay.
Okay, so now unmute yourself.
All right, so still hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Beautiful. And on my screen, it's actually just got a very small overlay. So if you can't read the important legal information, you might need to minimize your video. The important thing is that crypto is a very new field. Investing in anything involves risks, and there's no financial advisors in the world who are licensed to provide advice on cryptocurrencies. So the best you're going to get is some education. We are actually having a meeting with someone on Friday to be the first one in the world to have an Australian financial services license. So that'll be a win probably for next time, hopefully. The main thing is stay safe. All right. I'm trying to move this. There we go. All right. So investing involves risk. Everything that you do involves risk. So whether you're crossing the road, whether you're driving your car, whether you're shacked up with the wrong person, everything's risky. So just got a little illustration here, and I'd like to see a show of hands. We've got two puppies. This is the illustration. Two puppies jump out of a plane. Puppy A is wearing the parachute, as you can see. Now, puppy B is not wearing the parachute. So I want to see by a show of hands if you think puppy A is taking the most risk or puppy B. Everyone for puppy A, the guy with the parachute taking the risk. Okay, everybody for puppy B. Hands up. I can see you guys. Come on, I can see you. Put your hands up.
No, puppy A, puppy A.
All right, so we got 2 for puppy A. And that is actually the correct answer. That's okay. It doesn't matter if you got it wrong because it's just a learning experience, right? We're all learning. And puppy B knows exactly what's going to happen. He jumps out of the plane. He's going to go very, very rapidly towards the ground, followed by a sudden stop. There's no other way that anything could happen because gravity exists. Puppy A jumps out of the plane. He's got a risk. Maybe the parachute won't open. Maybe the parachute opens and the breeze takes him into some power lines or takes him into the water or something like that. So how we define risk is the departure from what you thought was going to happen. Some things are a foregone conclusion. Everything else has a little bit of risk. Once you know what the risks are, then we can actually manage those. So easiest way to manage it is do a lot of research, know what you're doing, or have someone else do it for you. So some of us don't have time to become a gynecologist, a brain surgeon, a limo driver, whatever you do. So that's why we hire other people. And that's just the safest way to do it. Alrighty, so if we grab our pens and pads, this is the fun part. There is 4 steps. No promises you'll make millions of dollars, but promise that you'll avoid more than 90% of the scams that are out there. There's 4 steps, very, very simple, and we're going to go fast. Investing into crypto safely. So number 1 is C. When you see a crypto project, check out the CEO, the CFO, the CMO, the COO. Doesn't matter if you don't know what those letters stands for. Make sure their photos are on the website. Make sure the photos are real. Look up their names on LinkedIn and see whether those people are actually saying on LinkedIn that they're working on the project. A lot of the scams put up pretty photos of beautiful people, which were just Google images with fake names. And there was actually no one behind the project and they were just taking your money. So that's step number 1, C. Check out the C-suite. How are we going? You writing fast enough? Second step is O. What's the offering? What's the operation? What does the coin do? What does the project do? Does it solve real world problems? So those are important things. I first got into Bitcoin 6-7 years ago because I was sending money to friends and family and co-workers in Africa, Indonesia, China, India, all over the world. And Western Union was costing between $30 and $70 for a transfer. And someone told me about this magical internet money that you can email to people and I could send $1,000 and it would cost less than 5 cents to send it to them. So I first started buying Bitcoin purely on a transactional basis because it solved my problems of paying the bank's exorbitant fees. I didn't realize when I first came across Bitcoin that it was actually a store of value. I didn't realize that it was like digital gold and they're not making any more of it. So find out what the project actually does. There's a lot of coins out there. have cute logos or funny, sexy names, and they don't actually do anything. At the end of the day, it's like a company. If a company has a great name but doesn't have a good operation, then that stock's not going to go very well at all. All right. So number 3 is I. The smart ones of you have already figured out what the fourth letter is going to be. So I stands for investors. Who are the people putting money into the project? Are they legitimate investors? Are they idiots? There was a coin project that actually came out of Perth, Western Australia, several years ago, probably 2016, 2015, very early on. It was called Power Ledger. And what these guys were looking at is they got solar panels on their roof, but when they buy power from the power company, they're paying 30 cents. But when they sold their power back to the grid, when they weren't home, they were only getting 11 cents. And these guys thought, wouldn't it be a great idea if we could actually do peer-to-peer with our neighbours in the street, and we could sell our power to them for 20 cents, twice what the power company is giving us, and the neighbours would be buying our power for 20 cents rather than 30 cents. So again, like Bitcoin, cutting out the middleman, doing peer-to-peer rather than through the power companies or through the banks. And one of the first investors into that was Sir Richard Branson. So, and there's a couple of guys in Perth, Australia, who started the business out of their garage and couldn't afford to list it on the stock exchange. And one of their first investors is Richard Branson, because he's very passionate about solar panels. But he's also a very smart guy, and he sees where the future is going. So if you've got someone who's a decent investor, who's got a lot of money and can actually pay people to look into things, that's probably a good sign that you'll get in there without doing too much research. All right. Finally, number 4, N. N stands for network. Does the project have a strong following? Twitter, Telegram, Facebook, all of these other weird and wonderful social media things. Who's actually talking about the project? Because the thing with some of these other projects, the ones that came out of nowhere, and then people started talking about them, but then a couple of weeks later, they're gone. And it could have been a few people on YouTube or TikTok who was talking about this coin, trying to get all the suckers to fight it. And at the end of the day, if no one's actually talking about what's going on with the project, it's probably going to disappear. There was an article in Cointelegraph that said in 2017, 92.5% of the crypto projects were scams, or likely to go bankrupt within the next 12 months. So there's a lot of danger out there. Also, you know, amongst that 10%, there's some really, really good investments. Okay, so that is it. That's the 4-step protocol, COIN. Very easy to remember because it's all about coins. And that's the protocol we've been using for the last 7 years in our managed fund. We have avoided all the scams, touch wood. So far, we've been going for 6 or 7 years and haven't been scammed. And we've got some very good projects. So for those who want to invest safely, then you can copy that method, which is one we've been using for years. For those who want someone to do it for you, then you can obviously take a little picture of that, that screenshot there. And it's the managed fund that we actually run. But if you're looking to do it yourself, there's a lot of free education, a lot of free information on Trillionaire.com. So we've taken the word crypto and the word millionaire and mushed them together. So Trillionaire.com is hundreds and hundreds of pages of free information. We've done interviews with the CEOs of some of the projects. Some of the projects went up by almost 10,000% after we spoke with the CEOs. Not just because we spoke with them, obviously because they were good projects that we found early. So you want to learn a lot about cryptocurrency and do it yourself if you have time, Trillionaire.com. Otherwise, you can go to bostontrading.co and you can get the free newsletter. We've been running, as I say, there's like 50 past newsletters on the website. The free newsletter comes out every month. And we've just got a diversified portfolio of a number of coins, which has outperformed Bitcoin for the last 3 years in a row, averaged around about 212% for the last 5 years in a row. So we're kind of proud of that. And again, we're first in the world to do a diversified crypto fund. And we're first to actually go to the market and say, we want to have regulations. We actually want to get a license for this very new high risk area, which is not licensed and regulated at the moment. So we want to make it legitimate and easy for everyone. There we go. 10 minutes, done.
Thank you, Jeremy. That was very interesting. But we do have, I heard somewhere that only 3% of the population are actually involved in cryptocurrency. Is that correct? Do you know?
Yeah. It's around about between 3 and 4%. But the interesting thing, Charlie, is they're looking at what they call the S curve of adoption. So in the 1970s, almost no one had a mobile phone. In the 1980s, like 1% of the population had a mobile phone. And then it started to pick up from there, where everybody's got a mobile phone now, even kids in Africa who don't have electricity. And mobile phone usage was growing at around about 30 to 40% per year, so it doubled every few years. Internet adoption in the early 1990s was growing at 66% a year. I had the internet in 95, 96 because my sister moved to the US, and I was one of the very few people in my town to have it, apart from the library and the school. But internet use was growing at 66%. And now we've got the stage where 80, 90% of households are connected. Crypto is actually growing 113% a year. It's almost double what the internet was growing at. So it's growing very, very fast. And you've seen it emerging on the news now, where there's billionaires and corporations and even large banks who are getting into cryptocurrency. So it's growing very, very fast, for the reason that it is, currently it's a low barrier to entry. So a couple of guys in a garage can start a project, for better or worse. And also it's solving a lot of problems with the peer-to-peer networks of sending money, sending energy, that sort of stuff. So it's very exciting.
Excellent. Does anybody have any questions? Can you unmute people, please? There you go. Does anybody have any questions? No? Well, I enjoyed that. As someone that's just invested in a bit of crypto, it was good to hear another version of it. All right, folks. Now we're ready for our main speaker of the morning. Has anybody got a question? No? Did I see a hand go
Yes,
up?
I was just, is there a minimum investment?
Minimum investment in the mutual fund is $1,000. And obviously, we've got to diversify that amongst 30, 40 coins. So in all likelihood, that's a great question, Ant. In all likelihood, once we get the license approved, it may be a minimum of $10,000 because the rules around retail or individual investors, and it may be a minimum of $50,000 for superannuation funds, 401ks, Roth IRAs, and SDRAs. I haven't got confirmation on that yet, but that's what they're talking about. So once it's licensed, it's going to be obviously higher.
Is that US dollars, Jeremy, or Aussie dollars?
Aussie dollars we work in, yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Can I ask, what is the name of the fund?
We call it the Boston coin because my business partner, she's a corporate lawyer with 20 odd years experience in corporate governance and making sure all the boxes are ticked. And obviously, I've got 30 years background in financial advice and managed funds and managing stocks for people. So we had this great idea to start a mutual fund like they did in the 1970s and revolutionized the stock market, because prior to then, only the rich people could buy stocks and shares, and only the rich people could have enough to diversify amongst portfolios. And then they brought out the mutual fund in 1971. So we decided to run this thing. And we sat there and we planned it all out and how we wanted to have regulation and how we wanted to make it balanced and make it safer than Bitcoin. But we're not marketing gurus, we're tech boffins. So we were sitting there and going, okay, we've got it all worked out. Now, what are we going to call this thing? Like we need a logo, we need a name, and we're sitting there and we're sort of brainstorming, like, do we call a marketing team? Do we call a logo design team? Hold on a second. And just at that moment, a little Boston Terrier walked in the room because he was hungry. And all of a sudden, we had our logo and we had our name. So we called it Boston Coin. And a lot of people from the US think, oh, you're from Boston, you know, I'll talk to you like this. Yeah, we're from Brisbane, but.
And it is a blend, like it's a mutual.
We'll still take your money.
It's a mutual fund, which is a blend of various currencies.
Yeah. So there's 40 different cryptocurrencies in there. All the big ones: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Secret. In the newsletter, you'll see a breakdown, and we also have some technology stocks. So it's funny. We sort of looked at like the cryptocurrencies, the little cars that go on the road, like stocks and shares are, but they're all running on the same network, which is the fiber optic cable. So we decided, like, if Bitcoin goes the way of MySpace and, you know, a new Facebook, a new competitor comes in, we don't want to lose a lot of money. So we actually bought the fiber optic network, put stock in that, and thought, you know, whoever wins, whichever car runs the fastest, we're still going to own the toll gates. And then, of course, the pandemic came. Wow. And everybody started working from home and using fiber optics and using meetings a lot more. And of course, the people who weren't able to work from home were watching Netflix, which used fiber optics a lot more. So we actually did really well out of the stocks as well as the cryptocurrencies.
Well done.
All right.
So where are you situated, Jeremy?
We're in Brisbane, Leslie, but we've got clients all over the world: Southeast Asia, America, Canada, Thailand, you name it.
Okay, because I'm in Brisbane.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. We really appreciate that.
Brilliant.
Thank you, Jeremy. Excellent.
Thank you. I'd like to call on Richard. Richard G, would you please introduce our speaker?
Most certainly, Charlie. And, you know, one of the things about SWAP is it's about sharing success. And our next speaker is success personified. What is really great is when you meet somebody who not only was a success in building up his mini movers business around Australia, but he did it sharing it with his staff, and his staff all have the greatest respect for him. But then, having done that, he then went to the Philippines and started up another business in a different culture and gained the same leadership. Now, anybody who can do that has got to have something that we can learn from. And Mike O'Hagan is one of those guys. He's got a couple of little beautiful little catch cries. One of them is been there doing it, which is really great. He just doesn't muck around. He gets stuck in it and does it. And then one of his latest books, you can't do that and 35 other business ideas that work. You've got to admire somebody who has that kind of attitude, that kind of success track record, and say, we need this sort of person in government. Anyway, forget about government, Mike. You're doing a fabulous job with your businesses. Let's hear from Mike today.
Overqualified for government.
Before you start, Mike, just let me give a bit of housekeeping here so people see what they want. Before Mike starts, I'm going to mute everybody. So Mike, you'll need to unmute yourself. If you want to see mostly Mike, up the top right-hand side of your screen, there's a little box that says view. If you click that and are on gallery view, you'll see everybody. If you click it and click speaker, you will see the speaker. And then at the very top of your screen, you'll be able to see the speaker with gallery at the side as well. So you choose how you want to do it. The recording is going to be focused on the speaker. So I'm going to mute everybody now. Mike, you can unmute yourself, please.
All right, so thank you for that. Wow, you're making my head swell with the introduction then. Look, 11 years ago, I moved from Brisbane to Manila, the Philippines. And like most of us, I compared everything to us. I was aghast at the slums, at the poverty, the poor people. And it took me a while to realize that these were our terms. They were words that I was using. They actually don't use those words for those things at all. And because I was being judgmental, I kept comparing us to them, being very, very judgmental. And then I realized they were actually doing the same to us. They're looking at me, calling it rich, big fat wallet and wasteful and all sorts of things they talk about us. Then I realized that through all of this, the Filipinos are a hell of a lot happier than we are. They're always smiling, they're always happy no matter what. and that they value different things than we do. Neither is right, neither is wrong. We are all simply different. So good morning, and on that basis, that's going to be the basis of my talk today. I'm going to tell my little journey, and hopefully you'll get out of it some ideas around how we think about other people and other people think about us. Most of you know me as Mr. Mini Movers. I got that. I actually exited Mini Movers completely 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago. In 2010, Mini Movers had gotten into financial strife with the GFC. I'd stepped back in to try and rescue the company. We were in pretty badly in debt. I used the Philippines to turn the company around. I very famously took a massive loss, I think a $1.4 million a year loss, and turned it into a profit in 5 months using the cheaper labor in the Philippines and the high work ethics of the Philippines. And during that process, I worked out that a lot of people going to the Philippines are doing it wrong. They don't understand the country. They go about it the wrong way, and they get into all sorts of strife. You do it today. I see you hiring people on Upwork and those sort of things, and just hiring the wrong people around the wrong way, and it's not working out for you. And I just watched that happening. So I started teaching people to do that and developed that into a business learning tour called Mike's Business Tours. Now, there are some people on the screen that have been on my tour. It was 3 days of full-on learning a hell of a lot, visiting a lot of places, pulling them apart, and a lot of partying in between. I did that for 10 years, and just on 500 Western business owners came up on my tour, and nearly all of them have set up operations of some sort, some of them quite significant operations. Out of that, I decided that I needed to diversify. I think the GFC taught me a big lesson. I had too many eggs in one basket. There were two baskets. One was the transport industry, and the second basket was Australia. So what I've done is I've gone off and found business partners, people that will work the business, because I don't want to work in anything anymore. I go and find business partners. I go into partnership with them. We form a company. I put my money in, I put my expertise in, and we start growing businesses. I've got 5 of these businesses today in 3 different countries. I chair the boards. You can see a list of some of the boards on my profiles around the place. And some of them have grown fairly significantly. And the big one, of course, is Sure 360. Some of you heard that name. It's the one I mainly talk about. And I can announce that only this week, we passed the 1,000 employees. Now, we've now got in just over 5 years, we've gone from 0 to 1,000 employees. And man, is the growth kicking in at the moment. This whole COVID thing is feeding us like you wouldn't believe. It's amazing. So I was cashing into my business skills and my business building skills. I know how to grow a business. I have a very simple methodology to do that, and it works very well. And it's really worked out for me as well. Let's just share a little bit about what the Mini Movers is, the Philippines is about. Just a bit of history, because you need to understand some funny things about the Philippines that are very, very different than what you expect them. You see them as an Asian country, and you think they're Asian. They're probably the least Asian of all the Asian countries. In 1521, Magellan turned up one day, and for some reason he decided to sail around 7,102 islands and call them a country. They were never a country before then. There are a whole lot of different tribes speaking different languages, same people, but not a country. Magellan decided they're a country. He rowed ashore, hauled a flag up a tree, saluted it, and said, "Now you belong to Spain." And at that stage, they became a Spanish colony. Actually, they're a Mexican colony off Spain, but same thing. The Spanish ruled them, and the Spanish ruled them for 377 years. And the Spanish pushed Christianity in. They are a devout Christian country. 88% of the country are Catholic, and they are extremely devout. There are only 2 countries in the world that today do not have divorce: the Philippines and the Vatican. So they are extremely devout. Unusual. They're the only country in the whole of Asia that is Christian, and it means they have the same core values that we do. They sort of think the same way we do. In 1898, so I had 120 years ago, 122 years ago or something, the Americans and the Spanish had a war over Cuba, and the Americans won the war. It was a very quick, sharp war, and Americans won it, sat down at the peace table, and divvied up the proceeds. And as the Americans did with their wars, and they still do this today, they divvied everything up. And for $20 million, they purchased from Spain the colonies of the Philippines and Guam. So at that point, 120 years ago, they became an American colony. And Americans were a non-colonizing power. They didn't sail around the world holding their flags up saying you belong to us. They used war and purchased them, some thing, but anyway. So they become an American colony, and the Americans decided that they would put them on a eventual road to independence. That's what they do, they rah, rah, rah around democracy. So the first ships that arrived in the Philippines from America had teachers on board. And they decided that they would put their education system into the Philippines. They would make it compulsory. So you've got a literacy rate there of, I think, 97.4%, which is about the same as Australia. They made it compulsory in English. So they made the English language compulsory. Philippines is the third largest English-speaking country in the world, with a compulsory but a fully Americanized education system compulsory in English. And it's been that way for 120 years. So the war came along and disrupted things. In 1946, they finally gave them their independence, and Americans being Americans for the next 40 years, they out and out influenced the election campaign of every president, right up until Marcos. And in 1986, the last of the so-called American appointed presidents, Marcos, was asked to leave. The people rose up, decided they didn't like the corruption, and put the little yellow ribbons around the street and asked him to leave, and he left. And for the first time in history, the Philippines became self-governing in its own right. So it's a very, very young country. It's only 33 years old. And to this day, it's still trying to work out what it stands for, what it believes, and everything else. It's always had somebody else telling them what to do. And they struggle with that. And internally, there are a whole lot of different people with different languages, different cultures and different things. So they're not one thing. They were forced to become that by the Spanish way back in 1521. So that's the history of the Philippines. Today, it's 7,106 islands, a population of about 105 million people. In Manila, they have 22 million people. So the Greater Manila area has 22 million people. Think the whole of Australia in one city. It's just hard to get your head around the scale of size and things like that. And as I said, a 97.5% literacy rate, a workforce of about 40 million people, third largest English-speaking country in the world, an Americanized education system, which is our big challenge when we hire people. We have a lot of problems understanding. We think it's the Filipino thing that's causing problems. It's not, it's the Americanization thing. Around about 1.4 million people are working in the offshoring industry, and currently about 170 to nearly 200,000 of them are working for Australian companies, which is growing very, very, very rapidly. When I first got started in the mini movers up in the Philippines, I moved the back end of mini movers to the Philippines to rescue the company. And I started building a team up there with a third-party supplier. And a few months after we started, we decided to bring our first employee down to Australia and train her in Australia. And my Australian manager rang her up and had a chat to her about coming down and what was going to happen and everything else. And she got off the call and she was quite quiet and very, very quiet and sullen. And about a few hours later, I was up in the Philippines. This happened in the Philippines. The third-party provider, their HR people came to me and called me into the office and said, they've got a very serious problem. That the employee, the Filipino employee, she was very, very disgusted with the way she was treated by my Australian manager. And my Australian manager, he's a complete pussycat. He doesn't swear. He's a really nice guy. And I just couldn't believe it. And she was absolutely disgusted with what he said. And it took a little while for me to work it out. What he had said is, you're coming down to Brisbane to do training, and we live very near the Gold Coast, which is a wonderful beach. When you come down, make sure you pack your thongs and we'll take you down to the beach. Now, it took a while to work out what that meant, you see, because if you do the American version of a thong, right, she was really, really upset with what he was suggesting. He was suggesting that she should bring her string back down, not her slippers. They call thongs what we call thong slippers, not her flip-flops. And I learned a lesson. I learned that they are very, very conservative. I know you know about the girly bars and that stuff, but that's like King's Cross in the whole of Australia. It's not. It's one tiny little thing, and it's not. The actual people themselves are extremely Catholic and very, very conservative. And we have a very loose use of our language. Saying that, by the way, it also comes, whereas it's said with quite a bit of fun things sometimes. One of our other staff a while later was talking to her to her Australian boss on Skype, and he kept saying bugger, and he kept said it 3 or 4 times, and she didn't know what bugger was. So she went into Google and Googled it and got the UK version of bugger. And once again, we had this whole thing of, no, he's not really saying that to you at all. That's not what he means. In Australia, it's a throwaway term. It's a soft swear word, etc., etc. Quite interesting things happen. And they sit on their fanny, which of course we find quite funny as well. Very conservative. Now, when you look around them, they live in very, very small homes, often 10, 15, 20 people in a home. Homes the size of like a single garage, no yard, no front yard, just the house is the same size as their little block of land. They own them and they stay in the families for generations. Typically, they've got a 2-burner gas stove in there with a big gas bottle sitting straight underneath it. And their shower consists of usually a tin tub with a scooper in it, a thing with a big long, like big soup ladle, and they use that and they scoop it over themselves and pour it over themselves. So it's purely cold water out of a tub to wash themselves. To the Filipinos, that's all completely normal. It's just the way it is. They are Asian from the point of view as they really have a very strong saving the face culture. They are extremely concerned about what other people think of them. And particularly inside their own peer groups, they are paranoid about it and creates some interesting situations in the workplaces. But what other people think of them is really important. And so when you see the guards and the policemen and everything, they've got all these medals and shiny badges and everything over them. That's all about sort of impressing their families and that they've got an important job. It's really important to them. We've discovered we can get more from a Filipino by giving them a different job title than we can by giving them more money. So they really think from the saving face thing quite differently. It also turns around the other way, that if we were to get angry with a Filipino in front of their peers, in front of their own people, that they are so ashamed that the white person was angry with them, that they really go to pieces and they will simply walk out, they will resign, they will never come back. So the saving the face thing has 2 sides to the coin. It's quite a challenge to us, and it's extreme. They really, really focus very much on what other people think of them, and it's so important to them. And so you've got to be very careful how you treat them publicly. But Filipino on Filipino is very aggressive. They get right up each other, they shout at each other, but we can't do that with them, especially in public. They come across as subservient. That's not the case. I thought it was the case for a long, long time. But built into the Filipino culture is a massive thing about respect. From the very first moment that they can walk, the little children are taught to do a thing called mano. And Angie, can you do a mano? And what they do is they walk up to you and they take your hand and hold it up to your forehead. They'll do this everywhere. They'll come up to you and just grab your hand and take it up and put it on their forehead. And it's a respect for older people. It's a huge thing. It's really, really ingrained into them. It's respect. Now that respect turns around the other way. They have a view of us Westerners as being sort of cleverer or smarter than them. It's just sort of a belief that they have, and therefore they have a reverence for us. So when we are around, they sort of don't quite know how to handle us. A bit like meeting the Queen of England, I suppose. If we met the Queen of England, we'd probably be in awe. We wouldn't quite know what to say. And they're the same. They're not sure what to say. So that comes across it looks like it's subservient, or they fear us. They definitely don't fear us, I can guarantee you that. And they're not that subservient. It's just their respect and the way they're doing it with their respect thing that we're not used to. They have this massive, massive respect thing that's, that infiltrates everything, and you understand that. So between the saving face culture and the respect for what they conceive as smarter people, including older people, it's quite amazing. Now, they're very, very family focused. This is very, very interesting because they are, and everybody, I've met Australians and people in the Western world, and they keep saying, oh, we're family oriented. No, you're not. You're not family orientated like the Filipinos. 80% of Filipinos give every single cent they earn to the family group. So everything they earn, they give to the family group. We split them when we talk to them and we evaluate them for employment between what we call family dependent and independent. Now, 80% are family dependent. That means that for the rest of their lives, every single cent they earn, no matter what they are, whether they be a very high paid IT person or just what you would call a VA person, an office administration person, or even just anything in the Filipino work scenario, everything they earn, they give to the family group. And somebody in that family group, typically a female, takes that money and she distributes it amongst everybody in the family group. What it does, in our opinion, when we look at it, is it creates it's like communism. There's no incentive to earn more or get more because everything you earn goes to somebody else. And it's, you know, it may be caused by the fact that they simply don't have an effective support mechanism. They don't have a social welfare system, certainly don't have unemployment or anything vaguely like that. They don't have those things. So they need the family group to share all the money to support each other. And that's how it all works. Totally focused on the family group. It varies around the place. So in Manila, you'll actually kind of find that the employees are likely to be 80% independent. For some reason, they've escaped the family, the need to put money back into the family. It may be that they've come from a rich family or a family of particular, or one of the two of the people in the family have gone off and got amazing jobs at very high salaries and just look after everything, or whatever it is. But this sharing thing, sharing all the money back, is a issue beyond the way you can think. Now, what I want to do now is I've got my lovely partner Angie here, and she's obviously Filipino from the Manila area. So Angie is one of a family of two, which is unusual. They have extremely large families, but Angie's mum and dad only had two daughters. Angie's younger sister married a guy, and he won't allow any of their money from that household to go back into Angie's household. So Angie ended up being the oldest daughter. She ended up looking after mum and dad, and the only income that mum and dad have is from Angie. And as Angie was working up, now Angie had 3 children. She lost her partner, unfortunately, who passed away early in the piece. So she had 3 lovely children, and she likes it when I call them children. They're not the young adults. I'm trying to wean them off the financial bottle at the moment. Doing quite good at it, actually. Anyway, so she had 3, and they all ended up, of course, they were grouped together, and she pushed to have 3 of them go to university. And university's paid in the Philippines, so it's extremely expensive. So at one stage, to look after your family, Angie, come and talk to us about your qualification. What's your university qualification?
I'm a registered nurse, and I finished nursing in the Philippines. So I work as an equivalent to the tax agency in Australia, the ATO. I work with a BII as a clerk. I qualified for that because of the being a licensed nurse would qualify you to work with the government.
Sorry, you're working 2 jobs.
Yes, and I work in the 2 jobs.
One job you're working for the equivalent of the ATO.
Yes, that is
right.
Correct.
A full-time job for
Yes.
for the Philippines government.
Yep.
How much did they pay you?
They paid me $340 in a month.
So we've converted that to Australian. They pay. She was working for the Philippine federal government in the tax office on $340 per month. But you had another job, a second job.
Yes, I work as a nurse or an intensive care unit nurse for $211 for a month as well.
Hang on, they were both full-time jobs.
Yes.
How did you do two? And the second one was $211 per
That is correct.
month. So how did you do two jobs? When did you start the tax job?
I work in the tax department from 8 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And then I work at from 10 in the evening till 6 in the morning for the nurse job.
And how long did you do that for?
About 3 years.
And when did you sleep?
On the travel to the next job.
So your
that's
children,
what I've been doing.
your children did what to help you guys? Right. So she was working for a total of $700 a month, right?
500.
Sorry, $500 a month, is it?
Yeah.
I've got the numbers down here in front of me. So $340 a week is 70. Sorry, $340 a month is $78 a week. That's one job. It's $2 an hour. And the other job was $211, which is $48 a week, which is 120, which is $1.20 an hour. So that's very typical. And during that time, she also ran up a lot of debt with the money lenders as well, because even then she couldn't meet all the pay and all the commitment. But that's the drive. Everything went to mum and dad. They eat a little tiny bit of rice each day because the money was mainly going to education. It was so important to them. They put education almost before everything else. A roof over your head. Don't buy any clothes. Wear the clothes until they're thin thread. Tiny little bit of rice for eating, and everything else goes to education. Nothing to health. There's no sense. So education is really important. They live for today. They can't really do much about tomorrow. No disposable income at all. No bank accounts. They don't need it. It was just it's all cash. There's no sense of a better house or a better car. They don't. We see that as no ambition. But it's not quite right. They have a massive ambition about their family and supporting their family and what they're going to do with their family. They really put it in front of everything. They don't trust the government at all. They have the opinion that what little bit of government tax they don't spend correctly, and they're probably quite correct about that. When they come here, they love our birds, the wildlife. That's the very first thing they do. The amazing amount of space we got. They go, where are the people? They can't believe that there's no thing. And of course, our beaches absolutely, they think are amazing, but they hate our water. The cold water in the sea is something they can't believe. The water up there is bath warm. Our tap and pay system, they can't believe that because it's a very archaic. If we go to a supermarket or a major thing up there, it's a major exercise going out, people checking things to make sure nobody's stealing anything and money and all sorts of things. They can't get over our houses and our yards and how much space we've got around. They are very offended by the way we treat our older people. They absolutely are hate the idea of us having old age homes. They think it's a disgusting thing to do. They don't know why we do that. They wouldn't think of doing that. They look after your own all the way through. It's their family culture thing. And of course, a huge issue with Filipinos is they always send money home to the family, even when they're in my life in the other country, they send them back. And to this day, of course, we're looking after father who's still up there. Mum's now passed. And the children, of course, we're trying to push into the Western culture and say, go off and do your own thing. Good news about having me and Angie's life is they don't have to look after us when we're older. We'll do that ourselves. The flaws to the system, what should we feel sorry for? If we should feel sorry for them, the health. There's a massive problem with health. They are dying early, they're dying young. We've had a lot of people on my staff die at very young ages for things that would be so simply cured in our Western culture, in our countries. And so health's a big problem. We need to stop prejudging them. The world's merging. We've got to accept that we're different and we're going to live together. And as far as I'm concerned, I live on planet Earth, and that's my sharing for you today. Hope you've got something out of it. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Do we have any quick questions? You have to unmute yourself if you've got a quick question.
That was amazing, Mike. That's really interesting to get the perspective from our perspective, because as you say, we're looking at it through different glasses. And it's really interesting for somebody to have lived in both cultures and have a good understanding and a historical explanation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike,
Just
as a
quick little story that I didn't share when I was talking to you. I look after a very, very poor area called Sully, and some of you have met Sully, and I've got a little video if you want to see Sully, and a little area. And of course, down there is a very, 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 very impoverished area. And we went down there one day, and they took a whole lot of Westerners down there, and they were kicking rocks around with their feet, playing like you'd call soccer, I suppose. They had these stones, and they were kicking them with their bare feet around the place. And somebody said we should buy balls. So we went, Ange and I went back to the supermarkets and bought a whole lot of rubber balls, big ones, small ones, went down and threw them all out at the kids. They all thought it was great. A week later, we went back there. There were no balls at all. They were back barefoot, kicking the stones around, all with a big smile and laughing. And we discovered that they sold the balls for food. It's the way we think, isn't it?
Yeah. Thanks, Mike. I really appreciate that. And thank you, Rhonda, for thanking Mike. We had Denzo supposed to thank you this morning, but unfortunately he's just texted in to say old age has caught up with him and he couldn't get here in time. So once again, thanks, Mike. I really appreciate it. Coming from living in an Asian country myself, I can really understand exactly where you're coming from. And going to the Philippines, I've only been to the Philippines once, but the respect for older people, and I don't know why they picked on me, but the respect for older people are immense. And most of all is most restaurants give a 20% discount to pensioners, including us poor old people. So that was pretty good. All right, folks, that's the end of this meeting. Our next meeting is going to be, we don't have one in January, we're having it in February, and that's the first Tuesday in February, which is the 8th of February, speaker to be announced. So we're going to finish on a high, as we normally do, with I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel great. So are we ready?
Yes.
Let's go,
yes,
everybody.
Unmute. Unmute yourselves.
Oh, everybody unmute. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. I'm alive.
I'm well.
I feel great. I feel great.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, Mike.
Have a safe and Merry Christmas.
Mike.
Bye.
On you, Greg.
Bye.
Enjoy, people.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Catch up with you in Laos, Charlie.
Sorry, what was that? What did you say, Greg?
I'll catch up with you in Laos. Goodbye.
What date?
Goodbye.
We'll make sure the borders are open. All right, folks.
Hi,
See
guys.
you later.
Bye. Merry Christmas.
Bye. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. See you soon.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Bye.